Smile was a film released in 2022, directed by Parker Finn, based on Finn's short film Laura Hasn't Slept, released in 2020, who has a brief cameo in the film by Caitlin Stancy, who reprised her role from Laura Hasn't Slept. Let's go into the synopsis really quick. So, after witnessing a bizarre, traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. As an overwhelming terror begins taking over her life, Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. The film stars Sosie Bacon, daughter of Kevin Bacon, who we just talked about on this channel from our Tremors video, Kyle Gellner, who you may recognize from such films as Jennifer's Body and The Haunting in Connecticut. The film is available to watch online on Hulu with a subscription, and the sequel is set to release later next month on October 18th. It is called Smile 2. So if you guys happen to stumble across our channel by looking up the trailer, welcome. If you guys happen to be a returning subscriber, welcome back. Let's start off with the introductions.
I'm Bobby and I love horror.
I'm Leo and I love movies.
And I'm Raymond, the other guy. So Leo, this was your suggestion. You want to talk a little about the movie?
Yeah. So I mean, this was my suggestion. I saw it for the first time last year in theaters. I was not expecting.
Last year?
Was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. I remember when the trailer came out, I was like, I don't know about this.
So
man.
I remember specifically not thinking this movie wasn't going to be any good.
Yeah.
Because of a movie that came out 4 years prior.
Which was?
Called Truth or Dare.
Oh, yeah. And it reminded me,
it had a really bad, like, CGI.
The smile, yeah.
And I was like, oh, is this just going to be more of that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me, too.
Yeah.
Same. I passed on this movie. I was like, oh, I'm good.
But
I saw the trailer and I was like, I can already see where it's going.
It's just the pretty much like the money shot of the trailer. It's just there's two scenes. One is just the guy yelling, "You're gonna die," over and over again.
Die! You're going to die! You're going to die!
And then obviously that car scene where like the lady just goes like,
Holly.
Yeah.
You know.
Look what I can do.
Yeah, and it's like I get it. It's kind of crazy, you know, but obviously it was taken from Terrified, that scene, because Terrified came out 2017, I believe.
Has it been directly referenced, or are you just guessing that?
Well, I'm assuming so, because in Terrified they had that same exact
yeah, it's
scene.
like shot for shot almost.
So it's like I'm like it had to be inspired by that shot.
And
it is iffy just because it is a foreign film, and I mean I know a lot of like Hollywood studio directors, they're not exactly looking toward foreign films for inspiration unless they're doing like a direct rip-off, like when you get like
it's
like The Grudge or The Ring.
I know, but it's very easy to be like, that was a cool scene. No one's gonna notice if I use it, you know. It's like
just for clarity purposes, Terrified, not Terrifier.
Nope,
and
Terrified.
It's an Argentinian film. Do you remember the original titles?
Yeah, it's called Aterrados, which means it translates to hauntings.
I know it's streamed on Shudder, so if you haven't seen that movie, highly recommend. It's a great movie.
And after you watch it, why not click down below and look at our episode about it?
Well, with that said, like I said, I went into with really low expectations originally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's surprisingly better than I thought. Way better than I thought.
Way better, yeah. No.
It was actually an enjoyable watch, so I do recommend it.
Yeah, do you guys want to go into recommendations and ratings?
Sure, yeah.
I'll go for right off the bat. 7.5. I think it's a solid horror film. I believe it's a little bit above intro level. Like it's like once you've watched a couple of rando horror movies and you're like, I want to step it up a little bit, this is there. But there are other movies that are more classic and better. Like,
oh yeah, there's always gonna be more.
So it's
movies.
But it's still a really good movie. It's a little bit long for my taste.
It's not terribly long. It has a runtime of about an hour 57 minutes. Which I mean, for a horror film, that's like an extra.
Long.
That's like an extra 30 minutes.
That's like an extra 30 minutes. Yeah.
But I felt like there could have been a lot of things that cropped out. But I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So that's my rating, 7.5, easy.
100% agree. 7.5. I
good movie. Though.
Enjoyed certain parts of the movie, but it wasn't really for me. It wasn't like my kind of like, oh, this is fun.
Oh,
I thought you would like it more.
Yeah, because this is your first time watching it.
Yeah, well, because I know you guys watched together.
But I watched it in theaters.
He saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
He was like, it's better than you think. And then I was like, okay. And we watched it together.
Yeah, you guys filmed that day, right?
We filmed.
We tried. We tried.
Filmed, and it's something we can never release.
Probably.
It was back in the old days. We were trying to figure out what do we want to do with this.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? I think I came here with, I think just me. I just came over and I was like, hey man, we gotta talk
Like,
about
hey
this.
man, your pizza's here.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have any money.
I think we were trying to figure out set stuff. Is what I remember.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, well, we're here. Let's watch a horror movie. So he recommended Smile, and you guys both told me, oh, this isn't as bad as you would think.
Right.
So I went into the movie with that mindset, and there are some scares I really enjoyed,
Mhm.
and then there are also some
They're kind of stupid.
that are stupid.
I mean, yeah, it can be out.
Yeah,
But the good thing is,
agree.
I will say, I think you can count the amount of jump scares in this film on one hand.
Yeah.
Which credit to that, because
Well,
some of the scares are very effective.
Yeah.
I thought
definitely.
you'd like this movie because you're the one who has suggested It Follows to me years ago.
I was gonna say I
Oh,
do see
yeah.
a lot of comparisons.
It's a lot.
To this
It's right
movie
there,
to
yeah.
It Follows,
Really?
but I feel
Oh,
like It Follows
yeah.
is more of a fun.
No, I agree.
A
That's why I
fun
said
watch.
there's more classic
Yeah.
horrors that I would rate higher, but I do think this does have its own merit to stand on its own.
Yeah, the two films that I came in thinking comparing this movie to was It Follows and Truth or Dare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what was going through my head as well. All right, Leo, what about you?
I give it a 7.5 as well.
So across the board, so
That's the first time in a while we had the same score. What was the last movie? I don't remember.
Me neither.
Anyways.
the last big one was Doctor Sleep. That's the one I remember where it was like we all agreed.
No.
There was one between there, but Doctor Sleep was like the one where we're like praising.
Praising, yeah. Yeah, no, when I saw this movie in theaters, I was like, I don't know about this, like, because my girlfriend's like, hey, we should go watch a scary movie in theaters. What's out right now? And I was like, well, there's this movie called Smile, and she's like, let's go watch it. I was like, sure, like, let's go. And we go see it, and holy shit, man. Like, we went to this little theater in Victorville, because we were in that area, and we were just trying to pass time, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's watch it. And it had pretty good surround sound,
It's all dark out there.
Yeah.
No, yeah, dude,
Victorville's
there's
all
nothing out there.
Scary.
And like the movie
Desert.
starts, and I'm just like laid back. I was like,
Imagine
let's
somebody
see.
taps on your window. You're like right after you see that scene. you're like,
Yeah,
"Ah."
no. So yeah, like the movie starts, like it's very cool. I was like, okay, like this movie has some pretty good cinematography. I can appreciate it for there, like, oh, that's the guy from the trailer. Okay, now it's gonna get kind of cheesy,
The only thing I remember from the trailer is the head bob scene, and I was like, that seems like it was probably one of the best scares, and it just
And
gave it
they ruined
away.
it. They ruined
Yeah,
it by
so
putting
every
the trailer.
time
Yeah,
she
it was the best scare, but obviously since it was in the trailer, like you
you
expect
it.
yeah.
But were you guys while watching the movie, like every time she was in the car, you're waiting for it to
Yeah.
happen?
yeah,
Yeah, that
Exactly.
was me.
Yeah.
and then there was a lot of car scenes. It
There was a
maybe
lot of
there
car
was like
scenes. I was like,
five.
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen
So,
right now.
yeah, it's gonna happen right now, and it doesn't happen. It's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie could have benefited a lot from what Paranormal Activity and The Conjuring did, which they
just
showed.
show the audience reaction.
No. Which they showed scenes in the trailer that weren't in the movie, purposely. I remember Paranormal 3 specifically.
I think that would have worked really well, especially because of the whole psychosis aspect of the film.
Yeah.
Because it's
yeah,
like, oh, like not everything you see is actually happening.
exactly.
And if you were to do that to the trailer, you kind of have the people in the audience thinking like, do I remember the trailer right? Because
Yeah.
like this should happen at like right now,
yeah.
and then it doesn't happen. I think that would have definitely threw a lot.
I
of people off.
remember.
This movie definitely had January release vibes. I don't know about you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, it
I
did,
was
it
like,
did,
this is
it
like-
really did.
Was this released
This was
in
a
January?
September release.
September,
I know, but
yeah.
it felt
September
like
18th.
it felt
Yeah.
like something you would throw in January, like
Yeah,
like
I
Night
know.
Swim, or like no, like concept wise, like from the trailer.
Concept wise, yeah.
I'm
And
saying the movie performed better
very
than
well.
that. Yeah,
No, the movie
like-
performed very well.
Yeah, I'm just saying
very
it
well.
felt
warrants
like
it a
that.
sequel.
Yeah,
Which also, fun fact: did you guys notice the guy in the poster for Smile 2?
I haven't seen anything of
What
it.
do you mean?
So
There's a poster of a guy smiling for the Smile 2. You know who that is?
Let me see.
I'm
The
guessing
only poster
Joel.
that no,
guessing no.
the only poster that I see is just the girl.
While we watched the movie, I was looking up stuff, and then I was like, oh,
You're talking about
so
this guy?
The second one's coming out.
No, not that guy.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Are you
I
looking
don't
at
watch
the poster?
trailers, and
This one?
so
That is the girl.
that's the girl.
Okay, that's what I figured out. I was like, that's the only poster I've seen. No, but yeah, I remember when I went to go watch Paranormal 3, like there was this certain scene that I remember specifically, where like the little girl's looking in her closet and like a book just flies at her, and that was in the trailer. You're like, oh shit, When the movie was playing, I was like, oh, there's that bookshelf scene, here
And
we go,
Conjuring, right?
here we go. No, it was Paranormal 3. The
Paranormal
Conjuring
3.
did that too, but in Paranormal 3, like you're like waiting for it, like, oh, here it is, here's that scene from the trailer, and then all of a sudden like it just lingers
Big
very long.
bamboozled.
Yeah, it lingers for longer, and I was like, you're just waiting for you. What the hell? And then her hair gets pulled back, and she flies backwards. And you're like, holy shit, So I feel like this movie would have benefited a lot from that. What
So
you
this
got
guy,
there?
he was in the trailer. There's also a poster of him circulating around for the movie.
Oh yeah,
His name is Ray Nicholas. He's the son of Jack Nicholas.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson
What the? Let me see.
of The Shining fame.
All
Yeah, I
right,
can
look
see
at
that,
that.
Yeah, he looks just
Yeah.
just like Papa.
That's pretty. Oh man,
Hopefully
Yeah.
they're- yeah,
I had no
yeah,
idea he had a
hopefully
son.
Hopefully
there's
there's a photo up on the screen for that, but
that's pretty
I
cool.
just thought that was fun.
That is
I don't know.
pretty
I liked a
fun.
lot of the actors in this. Kyle
I
Gallagher.
Oh my god, the acting
uh,
in this movie was amazing.
yeah,
Or
because I was kind of watching it and I was like, yeah, like January release vibes before I did any of the research for the
Right.
film. And I was like, oh, well, this is Kevin Bacon's daughter, so maybe.
Yeah, I was like, why does she look familiar? And then
Is
I
it Kevin
looked
Bacon's
up-
daughter?
It is. It is.
Holy shit.
So I was like, oh, like I'm wondering if she
Bacon?
got her job off her own merits or if it was like a recommendation.
Oh, no, I'm
Regardless
sure
of
it's
how
on
she
merit.
got the job for this movie,
She fucking
nailed
killed it.
Yeah,
bro.
she killed it.
Killed it.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
also shout out to the girl at the beginning of the film who was in the original short film.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
those were screams of terror. Like that was like,
Oh my god, yeah.
yeah.
No, but this actress, dude, like it reminded me a lot of the Invisible Man. The Invisible Man. You ever seen that movie?
I have not. You're talking about the remake, right?
The
With
remake,
camera?
yeah. So the main actress in that, like, she was an amazing actress because she's like the main actress too from *Handmaid's Tale* or something like
Yeah.
that. Where as the movie goes on, since it's a psychological horror, I feel like this one is also a psychological horror. Like,
Oh,
as,
for sure.
What
yes,
movie are you
yeah,
talking about?
Invisible Man.
Invisible
Oh
Man.
yeah. It's-
So
it's-
as the movie goes on,
yeah.
you can see it in her as a character.
Yeah,
and
like you
physically,
see the wear and tear. of-
yeah, you see
being
like her
tormented.
tear ducts are swollen, like her face is just like beaten, like it's just like from crying so much. She has like you see that this person is just suffering, and
Yeah.
you can see that as the movie goes on. And I feel like it's the same scenario for this movie as well.
All right. So do you want to go ahead and talk about the characters of the film?
Yeah. I,
Because
I, I
there's
like a lot of them.
there is what was his name? T
A-Train?
Usher. A-Train. So a lot of the stuff I heard about the movie was like, oh, he's such a bad boyfriend, like bad fiance, and I was like watching, I was like, no, like he's fine, like
He could have handled it maybe a little bit better, but at
yeah,
the
but
same
he doesn't
time,
have experience with this. Like he handled it the best way he could.
yeah,
But
like
the way a lot of people were viewing this movie, they're like, oh, he's like the worst.
yeah, no,
fiance,
no. Like if
like-
anything, when he got her the therapist,
Yeah.
like that scene, like I was like, that's pretty good, like he doesn't know how to handle it, so he's like, let me just
Yeah, let me talk to someone who might know. how
let
to
me
help.
talk to an expert
Yeah.
that can help her,
My
so.
thing was that because he's played I seen him as A-Train. I was like, I feel like he's gonna be a jerk
That's
at some
A-Train?
point.
What the fuck am I missing?
A-Train from
The Boys.
The Boys, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Can't stop
it
the
was-
A-Train,
you
baby.
didn't catch it immediately.
No,
Yeah.
it's been a
He
while
literally
since I've
came
seen
out
The
to
Boys.
A-Train. I was like, oh, I imagine he's gonna be a jerk at some point.
That was the first line he had in the movie. He came out, looked at the camera, said A-Train.
Um,
And then he
but
drank a Pepsi.
what was it? I expected him to not be the most understanding of people
Yeah.
because of his character as
And-
A-Train, which kind of sucks because
He was not very understanding, but he was as understanding as you could be in the situation he was given. Like if your girlfriend came up to you, he's like, "Hey, look, I'm not seeing ghosts, but there's a spirit, and it's cursed me, and I'm seeing people, I'm seeing things. Help me."
I
What
feel
do you
like,
do in that situation?
We're
I
gonna
feel like you don't
catch it.
have.
We're gonna catch it.
We're gonna catch it.
I feel like if he had put her in a
Zoic
psych
Scoob.
a psych asylum or something like that, it would
That
have
would've- yeah.
felt more appropriate than him going off on her in the car. Like that was
Put
my thing.
her in an insane asylum?
No, like her, like take her to a therapist, take her convince her she's going
Oh,
somewhere,
I
and trick her,
guess, yeah.
then take her to a psych ward or something. Like, hey, you're not well.
Psych ward, but-
Something where it feels more like compassionate. Because I definitely see where the audience would have been like, "Hey,
I mean,
he's
taking
kind
her
of
to a
jerk.
psych ward, I don't know about
Yeah.
that. Like, maybe get a psychiatrist like
No,
he
but
did.
Like when because I remember I worked in a hospital environment at one point, so it's like
That doesn't
you
excuse
no, you take someone to the hospital for a 5150 hold.
to
You take,
seduce him, like.
what do you
Seduce
know?
them?
I'm saying you
And I
go.
said,
date them.
seduce.
Hey,
Yeah.
This guy. But I'm saying you would take her somewhere where she can get help. In that situation where she's
Yeah.
kind of having, if she's having a manic episode,
I
you
think
can't
it-
argue
it-
with someone having a manic episode.
It serves to his character the fact that he didn't just immediately go, "Oh, like, well, she is crazy. She is having problems." It was
Yeah.
more so like, I want to believe you, but like, there's no evidence to let me believe you. Like, you just killed our cat.
He literally
Yeah,
called her
Like,
crazy.
there's only proof that our cat goes missing, and you give it to your nephew.
What did you guys think?
He called her crazy in that moment, though. So it's like,
Well,
that's
what did you
why I
guys
can see
think
it. I don't
when?
he was that-
What did you
that's-
guys think when he brought up the family history? Like, it's like, oh well, I looked up without you knowing your family history, and yeah,
And
you
then
got.
I got annoyed at her because at that point she was like, I hadn't. She's like, why did you look into my history? And it's like, you never brought up what happened to your mother.
No, I'm sure they
And
brought it
you're
up, but he was saying he was
engaged?
wondering if it was hereditary,
Yeah,
Right.
like the psychosis was hereditary. And I mean,
which is
when I have a
reasonable on his
question, I
part.
look to Google. right? Shoot,
my
like
wife
is that
insane?
gonna happen? Yeah,
But that also makes me question their relationship like almost immediately.
yeah.
Like that whole interaction.
And
'Cause,
I think that was more so to serve toward the other character,
Joel. Yeah.
because it was like reuniting an old flame.
Yeah,
Literally
which-
toward the end.
Good
job.
Yeah, it's good.
It was
But
like
no,
3 a.m. writing. He's like, great. That's
also-
fucking
It's
good.
good.
That's good.
That's also
How am I gonna fit this into script?
I don't know how much I feel about the actual character of like the fiance character as a whole.
I feel like
Like
he
I feel like
was-
he didn't have to actually exist to make the story scary.
No, he didn't.
Which-
but I
No.
think it
Padded
it
runtime?
helps. It helps in the sense that you need to be able to sympathize with the main character as she loses her support systems. So she
yeah.
loses her fiance. She
Mhm.
loses the trust of her family.
His her job, her
She-
boss.
yeah, her
Well,
job.
that's one of my favorite parts about this movie is that it focuses on mental health.
Yeah.
The idea
Mm-hmm.
is that like when you're perceived as crazy,
Everything you do is perceived as crazy.
Right. And everybody
And-
sees you as crazy too.
and that was from the beginning of the movie where she's like, "You're not listening to me." Like she's like, I know it feels real.
Because she was like,
And
she was
that's the
like, I
moment where
love
she
being a
snaps.
doctor.
Yeah.
Right. But then when she talks to the original patient from the short film, she's like just kind of blowing off her what is her problems.
Uh-huh.
Where she's like, oh, like these things are following me. They're always smiling. She's like, and are they in the room with us now? And it's like,
yeah.
like you're literally being the definition of a bad like psychiatrist right now.
In that moment, maybe in the short film, but like
No, I'm talking about in the film.
In the film, I didn't think it was that bad. I think she was literally just.
I didn't think it was that bad,
doing
but
her
it's
job.
just, it's just the contrast from at the beginning, where she's like, I love being a doctor. Like I do this to help people, and then the first patient you see her with, or I should say the second patient you see her with, it's literally like, oh yeah, like I'm sure it feels that way.
Well,
I disagree. I feel
but
like
yeah.
she cared a lot.
she
more
cared a lot
than-
because like she went up to
because
her boss and her boss was like,
She,
why are you
she
why
was
are you
leaving
letting
and went back.
No,
to
I know
go help
that's
her.
why it was such a weird contrast, because she was like, I want to help these people. Like
Yeah.
I don't care that it costs more money. Like they should care about helping people. And then immediately after the scene where she's talking to her character, I forget her name. It's not gonna matter in a moment. But
Laura.
yeah, Laura. So she's I don't think her name
It
is
is.
Laura.
It's
It is?
Laura.
Okay.
Yeah, the patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed condescending, and like she was blowing her off. So it's like I get that she was supposed to appear as a really caring doctor, but the way I interpreted it was she was still kind of just blowing off her patients.
Well, I
I
mean,
think that was perspective because I felt
I think it was
I
perspective
watched
as
the
well.
exact same thing and I thought it was compassionate.
But I
But
think
I mean,
it's
because
but
I
perspective
have
here's the
that
and I
thing.
feel like
It's
I'm in the
like
wrong,
she's
but
a
it
psychiatrist, so
it would
it's
also
like
mirror the interaction she has with her psychiatrist later in the film.
That's what sucks. And then
Yeah,
because
exactly.
when she is interacting with the psychiatrist, the main character Rosa, when she's interacting with her psychiatrist, she feels like she's being treated like she's crazy.
Yeah.
But she's literally doing what she just did. And
Yeah,
that parallel I
That's
do
why I
agree
think
with.
it would be a great parallel, but I do think it's just my perspective where I'm just misinterpreting it. But I do feel like that would be a good parallel for the film. You want to add anything, Leo?
no, we can move on
All
from
right,
here.
let's-
Yeah.
I think we should maybe take a quick break, and then I do want to talk about the scares and some of the effects that I agreed and disagreed with.
Oh, okay.
All
We'll be
right,
back.
There we go. We're moving on.
Oh,
Leo,
you
go
boo.
ahead.
It's your episode.
Sorry, guys. I get shy when I'm around you guys.
I know.
So let's talk about the scares.
Okay, so do you want to talk about what you thought worked and what didn't work?
Sure. What worked for me, okay, were the scares that they weren't necessarily jump scares, but they were like scares that kind of linger, like the suspense. Like one of the best scares in the whole movie for me that in the theater, I almost shit my pants. I was like, shit. It was the one where she was in the laptop and she was trying to hear a fucking voice.
I would consider that a jump scare.
It was a jump scare, but
Yeah.
it was a really good jump scare. Because in the theater, like she's like, and she's like trying to put the noise up, and she's like, and then she like puts the volume a little bit higher. She's trying to listen, and then she like kind of puts it even louder, and like you can hear like the grain and the sound, and it's like she kind of like leans in, and then all of a sudden you see that face next to her just yells at her.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I thought it was gonna be something in the computer's gonna yell at her, not something next to her. So I thought that worked for me. Obviously,
I liked it. It gave me Insidious vibes.
I felt
Right,
baited.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah.
I knew
wasn't
it was
expecting
coming. I knew it was
I wasn't
coming.
expecting it, but I knew there was a jump scare at some point. So like it's just
Another really clever one that it was so simple, but it was so effective because it was almost like 2 in 1. was when she was in the kitchen. I don't remember exactly what happens, but she had the knife out.
Yeah.
Does she see the silhouette of the girl in the kitchen when she pulls the knife out?
Yeah, you see her head.
Oh, right. Okay,
You
so
see her head just kind of like, I don't know if it's floating, but looks like it's floating.
yeah, no. You see like I think it was like the patient, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura.
So you see the it kind of reminds me of Hereditary when you see the grandma in like the darkness.
Yeah, it's a lot of the scenes in this movie reminded me of another movie.
Yeah. So like you see the silhouette in the dark of Laura, and like she flips out and like she grabs a knife. She screams or something, right?
Yeah, she screams when she sees
Yeah,
her, grabs
and
the
then
knife.
and then all of a sudden you hear from like behind her like footsteps, and she turns around and like in the silhouette, like the lights haven't even surrounded, but you see her boyfriend running at her. And
A-Train, baby.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
and you're just like freaking out about like the thing that just appeared next to her, and then she turns around, and she sees the silhouette of her boyfriend running at her, and she's like, "What was going on?" He like she pulls the knife, it's like, "All right, whoa," you know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really clever because like obviously the dude, it makes sense. The dude came in running,
Yeah.
you know. And it doesn't matter if it's like, "Oh, let me just turn on that. Hey, are you okay?" Like, no, he came in running full speed at her to see
Yeah.
what's up, and like you as an
Not
audience, you
full
get
speed.
Adrian, baby. You get startled by that, and you get startled by the boyfriend coming into the kitchen. You
Yeah.
know, so I thought that was really smart too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Those are two interesting ones. Because the ones that I really enjoyed were the fake outs.
Which ones?
So, for example, there was one where she answers the phone.
That one.
So after the alarm
Yeah.
goes off, she drops
Yeah.
the glass. She gets a phone call from the operator, like, "Hey, like, you know what happened?"
I thought that one was fun.
Yeah.
Not really scary, but I was like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I
And
agree
then
with
they
that.
ask for the
That was
password or
really
whatever, and
good.
they're like, "Are you sure there's no one behind you?"
yeah.
And
Turn
then-
around.
Turn around, and then the phone rings.
Yeah.
And she looks at her hand. She wasn't holding the phone.
Right.
And it's the same. They do the same thing. Call back to that scene is when she's with her therapist,
Right.
and the therapist comes to visit her. She's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm sorry about how things left off on our last session. Like, I didn't mean to like surprise you like that. You know, I just thought it was for your best interest." And the phone rings. She's like, "Oh, like, well, don't you want to answer that?" And you know, she answers, and it's
Is
her
a
actual
therapist?
psychiatrist,
Yeah.
her therapist, and it's
It's
like,
like, hey, I'm running late. I'll be there in
Yeah.
a little bit.
Oh, she's like, I'm sorry if you felt like we ambushed you.
yeah,
And it was
like,
like, that was
almost
like,
verbatim, like what?
yeah, that was
And she looks up and like she's just smiling at her, and
I
it's
will
like,
say
oh,
the
fuck.
the thing that threw me out of that scene was the voice that they added to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seemed kind of goofy, but you
Yeah.
know.
I'm trying to think of a scare that actually like got me outside of the jump
Not so
scares.
much that got you, but
But
more
no,
so
but, like, I
what did you
enjoyed-
what did you enjoy?
I enjoyed all the same scenes you enjoyed. Like those fake outs
fake
were
outs were
super
super
good.
good.
The phone ones were like, it's because I wasn't expecting it.
Oh.
With the window scene, I was like, I was one of the best scares, hands down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it's just the fact that they
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Mhm.
If you didn't know it was coming, it was probably one of your favorites. I imagine if you're watching it first time watching the movie. Other than that, like you said, I heard the audio going down. I was like, they better not just yell in my ear right now.
I knew it was gonna be like
And
a
it
loud
did.
jump scare, and I was like, it's coming. Just give
Yeah.
it to me. Just give it to me. But I was not expecting that thing to be next to her. I thought it was something in the computer yelled back. So I was like,
Alright.
that's what got me.
I'm gonna steer the conversation a little bit. How did you guys like the opening death, the opening kill, the gore on it? Because
Are we talking about Laura, or are we
I'm talking
talking
about
about?
Laura when
Laura,
she
yeah.
dies. Because I've seen a lot of throat slit scenes, and I was like, this one's all right.
And that was pretty goopy. I thought it was really goopy.
It was
Because have you?
teased- one. It was teased in the trailer.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It was, but not.
I mean, I get the idea of it. It's supposed to be like a smile, and then you see it like
Yeah.
when you see the corpse under the blanket over the corpse, you see the smile, you
Yeah.
see the happy face.
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
But I was like,
I mean, it's fun how they incorporate it. And what
that was one thing I
was going
mainly
to
liked
mention.
about it.
Mhm.
One thing I was going to mention is I feel like this film tried to do something that a lot of other films have done more successfully, which is take something benign or something that's not really like considered scary and try and move it to that level of like, oh, like, hey, if you see this, you're going to be scared.
Oh, that's
But it's like it's such a common like smile. It's been around since the 70s. I think before that,
Yeah.
no one was ever happy. But everyone's always associated with happiness, so
Yeah.
it's hard for them to try and take such a like an actual emotion and turn it
make
into
it
something
scary.
sinister.
Well, that's why it
Yeah.
reminds me of two things now. Because now that you bring it up, when the concept of the movie, when I first saw the trailer, I thought of the boogeyman. I was
Sure, yeah.
like, don't say it, don't speak it.
The Bye Bye Man.
The Bye Bye Man,
Oh,
thank you.
yeah.
I said boogeyman, sorry.
The same
Well,
thing.
That was-
they call him the
that was
boogeyman
a-
in the poster.
That was a
Yeah.
better movie, The
yeah, it
Boogeyman,
was.
as opposed to the Bye Bye Man,
So Bye Bye Man.
which had an okay opening scene and nothing else.
But
I haven't seen Bye Bye
what was
Man.
it?
You've never seen it?
Nope.
Don't say it.
Don't
Don't
watch
think
it.
it. Don't watch it.
No, it's watch if you want.
It's whatever.
Make your opinion.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you said it kind of reminds you of the Bye Bye Man, and what else?
I lost that thought. So
It's
go
gone
back to it.
forever.
Yeah, I'll come back in a bit.
One thing before we continue with that is, do you remember the marketing for this movie?
I just remember.
Super creative. I really enjoyed the
Yeah,
marketing.
I remember that.
So they had a viral marketing campaign where
Yeah.
basically, depending on what you were watching, if you were watching like a
Sports
baseball game, you
yeah.
were watching like the news, like where they have like the
Like our
audience, like, in the
reporters or
background
something.
whatever,
Yeah.
anything like that. What they would have is they would have somebody in a neon shirt that says "Smile," and they would just stare at the camera from in the background of a baseball
yeah.
game, a newscast, anything, and they would just stand there and they would just smile at the camera,
Just like
for
with the
whole-
poker face and just smile.
the whole time.
You'll have to show me later.
Yeah,
It's pretty
If
creative.
we
yeah,
can get some
like
clips in the screen for that.
or
that'd
like
be
there was
very
like
cool.
news reels where it's like they were just people reporting on news or something like that, and in the background like they would actually get in the back of the camera and just stand there and just smile. So it's one of those things that's kind of super creative. Like Planet of the Apes is they didn't do that same thing, but
Yeah.
it's kind of stupid. They just had fucking people in ape costumes like riding horses and at the beaches, you know.
Or
Hilarious.
more
That's
recent.
awesome.
More recent, they had the Alien Romulus viral marketing, which they had a lot
Yeah.
of like puppets or like animatronic people like lying in the street
Yeah.
while the xenomorphs, the facehuggers are wrapped
See,
around their
I
face.
missed this because I don't watch trailers, so I don't know any of these.
Yeah. I'll show you
references.
some when we finish up here.
But I remember my thought now. Because I also, like I said, one of the big parts I liked about this movie was the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah.
But the idea that a smile can mask your emotions, like as she's slowly deteriorating mentally, she starts trying to make herself like she has to keep up appearances.
Oh my god, that was so
she
hard to watch, man.
Yeah, so she goes to like her nephew's birthday, and she's doing her makeup, and she smiles into the mirror, and I'm like,
Yeah.
She does like but different smiles. She like smiles this way, and then she smiles that way.
because she's trying to fake it and to make it.
Oh man,
And
she's such a good actress,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So I didn't think of that. I do really like that thought process of the.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot
of
of
trying to interpret the
there's
film.
a
Yeah.
lot of fluff in the movie, and I feel like they could have just made it just so much like cleaner. Because the quiet moments are some of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Like that one, was one of it. The scares that were more silent
But
than loud.
now that
Yeah.
you're on that scene, now that you're on the scene, like that's probably like one of my favorite scenes. Not
That.
because it's scary, but because when you see what happens when you see that cat right there and like she holds it, like that's fucked up, you know? Like and you
Oh
can,
no, you're talking about when she finds
out
a
mustache, yeah.
That was because the camera doesn't focus on everyone's reaction; it focuses on her face,
and
and you can see her smile, like
yeah,
her happiness in that moment is just completely drained.
Yeah,
She's-
because she
and
bought
she's
him like
devastated.
is it her nephew?
Her nephew.
Her nephew.
She bought him like this tray, and he's like, "Oh, he's
Model
gonna love
train,
this,"
yeah.
you know. And as he's opening the gifts, like she's smiling, she's like, "Oh, he's gonna love it." And then like she pulls out the cat. But
It's like
before that,
the one time she has like a moment of like some
It's
kind of
kinda-
reprieve from how the chaos is
it's kind
happening.
of sad because
Yeah.
it's like
Just a
before
gut
that.
wrench.
the
wrenching.
only break that she had from everything that's been going on with her.
Yeah, to see her
Suddenly
Yeah.
taken away immediately.
yeah, and
But-
and then you see her like fall to the table, get cut, scream into
Silver lining, she could take down those missing cat posters.
oh.
No, but even in the beginning of the movie, when the cat goes missing, like she already has like a teary voice. You
Yeah.
know?
because she's
So
worried about
she
her.
almost but she already kind of knows. She's like, "Oh fuck my cat," you know. So when she sees that, you just know you're like, "Oh, dude." And when she screams, dude, that's probably like right next to like I believe right next to Toni Collette as like the scream
wow. There's high
queens.
praise.
That's
of-
very high praise.
No, I'm saying like
I-
the
More
scream
than-
the
better than-
scream queens of this decade. I feel like it's up there.
I liked Cade's from Alien Ramen. Well,
That one is good
So-
too. It's
That one's
it's up
great.
there.
there's,
It's
there's
up there.
two
Yeah.
things. Two things I want to mention about that scene. I don't know if I remember hearing this, but I think they didn't want to like actually traumatize the little
Kid?
boy who's actor, so I think he wasn't actually holding like a dead cat puppet. I think that was CG.
that
And
doesn't surprise me.
it looked pretty bad when he's holding it.
wow,
When
really?
she's holding it, I think it's an actual like practical effect.
That's really interesting. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, and then another thing is the whole point of the movie is basically passing on your unresolved trauma, and
Yeah.
they were basically saying even if the movie didn't end the way it did, that the spirit or the creature would have lived on through the son
Exactly,
nephew.
and so that's what I before
because she did traumatize him.
that
in
was
key
Yeah,
ways.
you're
that's
right,
what I
you're
was
right.
curious because I don't know anything about Smile 2, but I was like, I hope like this was my in head canon. I was like, I hope Joel has like he lets himself die alone and thinks he ends the cycle, or for her to pick up with her nephew.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like how jacked would that be?
think about it.
That's
There's a
why I
smile
don't think that's what's
too,
gonna happen.
and this thing transfer, you know, by by just
Oh, I-
technically dying in front of that person. So it's like you can kind of guess how Joel's fate comes.
No, I know,
into the
but I
sequel.
wanted to imagine that there was like
It starts off with him, and he's like in a warehouse, and he's like, I'm not gonna let this take anyone else, and
because he knows everything at this point.
He doesn't.
I mean, no,
He doesn't know to kill anyone because the patient had him step out of the room before he explained that part.
Fair.
And she kept that to herself.
I feel like he could figure it out, though.
He's a detective, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
that plus he could just be like,
He's a smart guy. He's dealt
she
with
just
hauntings
killed herself
before.
in front of me. What did she tell you?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I feel like he's smart enough to figure that out as a character. But I'll let you finish your thoughts, and then there's a couple other quiet moments that I really love that I want to get to.
Sure.
Oh,
Because
but
some of
I
the
was gonna say
acting is it's like super
one thing.
good.
One thing
Good.
I fault this movie for, and I do see this in a lot of horror films, is the oversimplification of the research.
Oh yeah, it can't be helped.
It's always
Nah,
it's
dude.
always conveniently like, I looked back into this, but this guy had all the information I needed.
Yeah,
And you do see
Yeah.
that in a lot of horror films.
it's kind of yeah.
But I mean,
the exposition.
I
Like
get,
fucking
the expedition. I get that.
Malignant. It's like
Yeah.
you don't know what the hell's going on until the last.
Here's a videotape
5
explaining
minutes.
everything. Good thing we found it. Good thing we had
Yeah,
a
I
working
know.
VHS in 2022.
know.
When she was
exactly.
looking things up, it reminded me of like so many other movies. You can list a few. Right after that, I thought of The Ring. I thought
Yeah.
of Bye Bye Man. I thought of a bunch of other
Follows, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that like I understand it, but it always bothers me that it's like how much more difficult would it be for a writer to just be like, oh, like here's how they came across this information on their own,
I think
Yeah.
as opposed to them just kind of be like, oh, this guy already had all the information.
How would you have felt if she just went to the detective to begin with,
Well, I mean,
as opposed to trying to Google something that most likely?
But
wouldn't
here's the thing: they
pop up?
kind of did run into it because then she's all like, "Well,
Well, I think
how did?"
that helps with their character because she's like, hey, I keep people at arm's length, blah blah. And,
Yeah,
and
but I'm
it's
trying to
like, when
justify,
she can't
like-
do something herself. It's like she's like, okay, well,
So then you
let
need
me ask for help, and I don't want to ask my fiance because I think he's a scumbag, like a lot of the audience.
So
I
then,
think he was.
So then the research
the
is
right.
necessary for the character then.
Because
So
then
at
she's
least it
all
makes
like,
sense.
Yeah.
it makes sense because she kind of goes down the rabbit hole. It's like, okay, what does she see before this? So it's like, oh, it was that one guy that kind of killed himself in front of her. Okay, how did this guy, came
not
to be? He's
yeah,
like,
but-
oh, well, he was in the gas station. This guy, like,
Well, she wouldn't have gotten the information without Joel.
Yeah.
So that was also
fair
important
enough.
to
But at the
introduce him
same
into that
time,
plot line.
he was a detective, so like, it's like, and he does take care of like
Oh.
cold cases. So he's like, who else would know but him?
I don't think he takes care of cold cases
Well, just like
because the girl killed herself immediately in the hospital, and he was there within a few hours.
then perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
but also back to the
Small
mental health
town.
perspective. You notice how dismissive the cops were.
Yeah,
When
like, oh,
she-
she's crazy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, she was
Case
a
closed.
nutbag, right? So I have to go
Case
tell
closed.
her.
Oh, okay, so she's crazy.
Yeah, and it was just
Yeah.
like a write off. But some of the quiet moments that I really enjoyed. First of all, like going back to the prison scene with Robert. His name was Robert Tilley, but the actor is Rob Morgan. That scene where he acts petrified when he finds out that she's
Yeah,
the one
'cause
who has it.
She's like,
Oh my, so good.
A friend of
dude.
mine
No,
saw
she's
something.
my patient.
No, I know. It's just
yeah,
it's like,
but he
oh,
knows he knows it right
Well, the
there.
moment she's like, I'm not gonna fucking kill somebody, and then his reaction is mortified reaction. I was like, oh, that was
he
Yeah.
genuinely was trying to help her. He was like, hey, like make the
'Cause
cop
he's-
leave. He's like, the only
he
way to
murdered
get this
someone,
off
but
you
he's
Yeah.
not
is,
so,
is
like,
if they kill someone.
Yeah.
And he
He's
didn't
like,
want
"I'm
the
not
cop
gonna
here because
kill
he didn't,
anybody," yeah.
like, there's a chance that if they kill someone and pass on to them, that they could still live their life. His
Yeah.
life is gone because he killed someone. He got caught, but he was like, hey, make the cop leave. I'll explain how you can help your friend. But as soon
Which-
as
but he
he found out it was her,
Which I feel like there's so many plot holes that you could just easily just maneuver through that. It's
hold
like,
on,
oh,
you
okay,
guys
gotta
caught the
kill
fact that you have to traumatize somebody else though.
yes.
Oh,
So-
kill somebody in front of somebody.
Yeah,
That's
so
what it
you're
was.
gonna
Okay.
get
You
caught
need a
no matter
witness.
what. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need a witness to
You
your
need a
murder.
fucking witness.
So-
Shit,
yeah.
hear me out. Hear me out. So
Do it in front of
some
millions.
studies say that animals can be traumatized. What
No.
if you get like a hamster?
Probably would work.
The hamster's all smiley.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh no.
And then
And then chuck it in the river.
I also like when because when you're talking about the research part, she goes and visits the husband of the
husband's
professor,
wife.
Yeah,
the husband's
yeah.
wife, which was Judy
There's a quote that she says that's really fucked up, and it's like
Reyes. is the
35
actress.
years of marriage.
And this is what I have.
And
to
this is
remember
what I have to
by.
remember by, and it's just his
And then,
face is all
and then they
twisted.
give
I
you
was
a quick
like,
glimpse of
fuck,
gore,
man.
and that was a pretty like messed up.
That was-
photo.
yeah.
They show
Her
that
name was
they show
Victoria
that
in
clip.
the movie.
They show that clip, and then she's like 35 years marriage is what I have to remember. But
Yeah, it
there
kind of reminded me of
there
that
were
one
some
scene from The
scenes-
Ring, though.
There were some scenes in that interaction that was like, this is super cheesy.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah.
And it was also the fact that it was another exposition dump.
Well, yeah, as opposed to doing the typing out the professor's name, having gone to someone versus like you could have cropped stuff out. You know what I'm saying? To make the story more consistent. But did you guys recognize the actress? I immediately recognized her.
No,
No,
come on.
she
You're
seemed familiar,
you're probably
but-
gonna be the Halle Berry sister or some shit like that,
No,
dude.
no. It's from Scrubs.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I was.
CJ's girlfriend?
Yeah,
Oh,
I have her name right here.
fantastic.
Carla.
You're beautiful.
Carla Espinosa. So yeah, I saw her and I was like, oh, it's Scrubs. I was like, so Judy Reyes. is
Okay.
her-
Do you guys want to move on to like the best part? Make a break and then move on to the best part.
Yeah, before that, I do want to say a lot of the practical effects were very well done. It's a lot of the CG that they use in the film was really bad.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking for bad CG, but it was just so blatant.
Which
on
parts?
screen.
Because I think like the most jarring part is the end. Hands down.
The end, that
Was
was
there
definitely
another
the most
one that I'm
jarring part.
missing? You said the cat. I
The
didn't
cat.
know.
Okay.
got a call too. I heard
I know he's the only one who didn't get a call. He's the only one who is ready. Come on. It's recorded.
It's just not our day today, bro.
At least it was a good movie.
He's all pissed.
All right, clap.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Hey, you got the giggles out?
Yeah, I got
All right.
good.
Ready, set. We're good.
The most jarring CG for me was the end of the movie. You mentioned the cat.
Yeah,
And-
it was the cat, and then it was the scene where she goes into the hospital and she like basically stabs that patient, and her boss is like,
I forgot about that part. You said it. Yeah.
I laughed so hard at the theater during that part because it was so unexpected. I was like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" But when he's like, he just starts tearing his face.
you ever been so scared you rip your own face off? So,
Did you guys at any point think that was real?
no.
No, I was like,
no.
at first with the first stab, I was like, oh, maybe, and then he started laughing. I was like, oh no, it's just
Yeah.
it's just in her
Yeah.
head. I was like, what did she do? Fall asleep in the car, and she wakes up in the car. I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
Before we jump into that ending, one of the parts that I didn't like either was the acting of the first patient, the one that is like, "You're gonna die, you're all gonna die."
don't like it?
I'm gonna. I
That's
I
fine.
didn't.
I
I
didn't see
thought
any
it was-
issues with it.
I believed he was in a manic episode.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's like I don't know, man. Like it's like I found that whole part kind of cringy. He's like, "You're gonna die, I'm gonna die, we're all gonna die." You know, it's like
He's not
Yeah.
wrong.
he's not wrong. But
Before we
whatever.
hop into the end too, I'll say my final things. Well, I forgot it. God damn it. I'm getting old. If I remembered, I'll remember. Oh, how everything reminded me of another movie. So have you guys seen Pet Cemetery?
Yeah.
Do you guys
Which
know
one?
the both? Either or?
Yeah.
Either or.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I saw the original.
You saw the original. Do you guys know like the actual what happened to the mother? Like the wife's trauma?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because her I forget what the disease she has.
She had what was it?
Because I said everything in this movie reminded
Schizophrenia?
No. In Pet Cemetery,
it's
she had
where
the disease
your
where
bones
like
start to like
Arthritis?
your
No.
bones start to like harden and you can't move them anymore.
Yeah. It's they start to deform a little bit.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But in the original Pet Cemetery in the book and in the remake they reference it that the reason why the wife is so traumatized is and so scared of death, that's why she never wants to talk about death, is because she couldn't call for help when her
spinal meningitis.
yeah she couldn't call for help because she was too afraid of her mom. And I was like, when it happened in this movie, I was like, dang, like I feel like they took some from It Follows, they looked from Terrified. That's why I was like, I can't rate it that highly overall.
I think they took a lot
Of
of
inspiration.
good scenes from other horror movies, which is why this movie wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
But the fact that it lacked a lot of originality is what did drop the score in my mind, which is why I only have it at 7.5.
It was the runtime for me, and then it was the unoriginality of some parts. The parts
Yeah.
that were original, or the parts that like some of the acting was so good.
Acting was
Oh,
really
that
good.
was-
The parts
that
that
was
were
great,
original
like-
were great.
Yeah.
And like we did mention, the CG.
Cinematography was great too, by the way.
But
I did like the cinematography. A lot of the scenes, a lot of it was fluff, which I feel like they just kind of wanted to extend the runtime.
oh yeah, the
Hey,
upside down camera.
but
That's the one
what
I was so
about
confused by those.
what about that intro to The Shining though, with the overview of the car?
Oh no, that was the coolest one. That was the
Yeah.
coolest shot. Was the one where you see the ambulance pull up and you see
Yeah.
Laura on the stretcher.
Yeah.
Then it zooms into the
It's
window.
into the window and she comes into the door. I was
And it
like,
was
that's
like-
great cinematography
That was
right
my
there,
that
right?
was my
Yeah.
favorite shots, but I never understood any of the
The
upside down
scenes.
I was like,
Yeah,
it's
Is
supposed
there
to be
a
like
purpose for that?
in my mind. I was like, maybe she's like her mind is being flipped. I was like,
No, I mean
I'm
it,
just
it
looking
can
for
be
an
it can be
answer.
anything what you perceive, man. Like
didn't-
honestly, like
that's right.
it's stylistic
It's
use.
one of those
you know?
like English class, like, oh, like, what do you think it means? One
Perception.
You could think it's like, what does an upside down smile look like? A frown. It's not a happy moment, okay?
Oh yeah, those are all the noticeable things. But I feel like if you haven't seen all the movies that I've seen, where I know where the references are from,
of those. Then
this
you'll
movie must have
enjoy
been like
more.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
no.
why I say it's like intro level to a degree. It's like
So
right
that,
after
that
your
being
intro.
said, going into the ending, do you blame Rose for not calling for help?
In the end,
Yes.
no,
No.
I don't blame.
So with context, their mom died at the beginning of the film. We don't really know
oh, you
what
mean
happens
when she's a little girl?
when she's a little girl.
Was it an
no, yeah, I just
overdose?
don't blame her.
So it was an overdose. So she had a psychotic episode. Something was wrong with her mentally, and she took too many pills. And she told Rose, who was I believe 10 at the time, to call for help.
Right.
And
So I
she
messed
was
up.
afraid.
I called for help. Yeah.
She was afraid of her mom. She was afraid to deal with any of that, so she left, which
Right.
caused her mom to overdose. So have you ever seen Breaking Bad? Like, kind of similar situation. But she wasn't so traumatized by that. Like, she didn't witness her mom die, but she did leave her to die.
Right.
Do you think that she was in the wrong as a 10-year-old girl to
No,
not
because
call for help?
As
no.
a 10-year-old, no.
Because one, her mom is. It's gonna sound fucked up, but she's a drug user and like she relied on her kids to like keep her alive.
Because they show a shot where
yeah.
you see all these like empty bottles and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like
and
she's clearly either like she's emotionally or mentally abusing these kids, like
yeah.
manipulating these children.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up because like she's depending on these kids to like, oh help me, and it's like, dude, like you can't rely on these 10-year-old kids. Like you're scarring them, you know, you're hurting them, and you want them to help you, like, and it's not like she lets her die. She just kind of like just lets it happen, you know. Like I mean, she does
let
Let's
her
let
die.
her die.
lets her die. She basically
Why? Do you have
yeah.
a
She
opposing
kills
opinion?
her, you know.
Yeah.
Do you feel about the same or is it different?
It's hard to explain because it almost felt like she knew what she was doing was wrong. It's just if she had more of a support system.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is when you lose that support system in your family, you tend to fall victim to these circumstances.
Yeah.
So like drug overdose or a smiling demon.
Substance abuse.
So
Yeah,
those
so-
are that's
Just
all.
like smiling demon.
How did you like the ending dialogue? Because I adored it. I love that where she believes she made it out alive,
Yeah.
and she talks about the wall she built up. Like
yeah, and
it,
she's
that
like-
was
she's
such
like,
a
I
good
kept you at
quote.
arm's length. He's like, and I was afraid because you were
That
breaking
was
those walls down.
that interaction and the interaction with the sister, where she's talking to her on the front porch, like you traumatized my son, and then she's like, what do you know about how mom deteriorated?
Yeah, like you left.
and all of those portions were so good. Like
those are
it was
really
like-
good because it's
I was like, oh man,
it's such a breakthrough for Rose to kind of she's actually expressing her emotions as opposed to just dealing with other people's problems.
Right.
Not to get into a big tangent, but it's very reminiscent of the Steven Universe future where it's like, hey, you spent your whole life helping people.
Oh
it
yeah.
hurts
And-
so bad.
Yeah, like you spent your whole life helping
Oh,
people,
no.
but now it's like you've never taken the time to actually reflect on what you've been dealing with.
Such a good show. You guys should watch it. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Fantastic. I strongly recommend. Thank you, cousin, for recommending that to me.
Here comes a thought. I think that's the name of the episode, or it's
I was talking about specifically in future, the whole concept of him
Oh.
having to deal with his
The aftermath.
trauma.
I was thinking when it
yeah.
was Stefani and Connie, but yeah,
Yeah.
I just saying I won't bring you to a tangent, but yeah, good episodes, good show.
good episodes.
But anyway,
But I think those are good closures for her, and I think that's why those scenes felt so satisfying. I felt like they were undercut in the fact that she didn't escape, and that also did feel like another horror film where
Trope.
yeah, that was basically
oh,
like from
it
The
was all a
Descendants.
dream, you know.
But
like-
I'm not gonna lie, I love the eye shots on both characters, because this what we're calling a demon. What are we gonna call it?
let's call it demon.
All right, this demon. It transfers through trauma from witnessing the act,
Which
and
can we
both,
talk about that?
both shots when the person's committed to unaliving.
Oh, you're talking about the closing of the eyes?
I'm closing on the
Yeah.
eyes for
Yeah.
both of them because I liked it as the final shot of the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, like that was a chill.
Nice callback to the beginning of the film.
And can we talk about the effects of the demon? What did you guys think?
The
Which
practical
part?
or the CG?
Because
Let's talk more about the practical because most of that is practical.
I thought it was
Yes.
cool that they went for it, but when you have that open mouth jaw scene, where
that was
I was
kind of
like,
That
off.
was CG.
it was painful. It was
When
like
they switched
Yeah.
it, when they switched over CG, and then I think the puppet at the end was practical.
Yeah, like I feel like when he just kind of like splits his head open
that was
like
cool.
that. That was practical. That was cool. I don't know if you guys seen that behind the scenes video of them just recording that scene.
I wanted to.
Amazing. It's you guys seen the behind the scenes for the final alien and the alien Romulus?
Oh
like-
yes,
Yeah, seen that behind the scenes?
I've seen a bit of it, not all of it.
Okay, well, it's the same thing. They're telling this really tall person, like, okay, you're going to be doing this. And it's a person in a costume with, like, a wig and, like, a huge smile. And it's, like, it's terrifying. And
I
So
have the,
correct me if I'm wrong, because I believe Barbarian was also released in 2022,
yeah.
and there's just great year for practical
for
monsters.
I haven't seen Barbarian.
It's all right.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But the
Quick review, 6 out of 10. All right, next question.
they called it the Nightmare Mom, and it was Kevin Kepi.
Yeah,
that
but
was
they
good.
were. It was, I think just
The
between those
actor.
two movies,
The actor
those
Kevin
are
Pepe.
Kepi.
those are really
Pepe.
good use of like practical monster effects. But obviously, I feel like the scene was undercut
Oh,
by
my God,
the
of
CG
course.
in that.
Yeah, that's great.
So, yeah, so she basically thinks she gets away. I felt like it was kind of keeping her in a loop just until Joel got there, because I mean it's in her head.
It was too easy for her to escape. That's why I didn't believe it was. That was
Yeah.
it. She's like, "You're in my head," and then sets him on fire. I'm like, "That's a fake out if I ever saw one."
Yeah,
And then
I felt like the fake outs got progressively worse as the film went on.
Yeah, definitely.
I felt like the ending one suffered because of how long the runtime was. So I was like,
Yeah.
we gotta end this movie. Already about
They
2
did it like
hours.
3 times, and then they're like, okay, we did it. I escaped. I'm in the apartment with my ex-boyfriend.
Maybe
We're
take
going to
a-
live happily ever after.
1408, Stephen King. that's
Yeah,
what it
and
reminded
then
me of.
boom, just kidding, we're back into the same cabin. It's like, oh my God, of course. Like, it is a big fake out, and they make you think, like, okay, now it's for sure over because of how long it lasted. You know?
And then it still somehow manages to continue.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, that's the movie as a whole. I think the suspense in it was great. I think
It
it was
was.
overall worth a watch. I probably would watch it a couple more times in my life for fun.
It's
Yeah.
it's a fun watch.
It's not a bad movie.
So
by any regard.
I will end the episode with a question. So you just kind of out of the blue message us. You're like, hey, have you seen Smile? We should do
Right.
Smile.
Mhm.
Is there a particular reason, or you just is it still part of our creature feature? Or
No. Well, my sister-in-law, she was watching it.
Mhm.
She was watching it with her boyfriend, and me and my girlfriend were like, "Wow, okay, let's watch a little bit." And we're watching, and I was like, "Damn, I forgot how good the beginning was. Let's watch a little bit more, you know?"
Yeah.
And then we started watching, and I was like, "We haven't done an episode on this, you know?" Like, and then obviously like the sequel's coming out soon.
Yeah.
So I figured, by the time
In
this
theaters,
comes out,
October 18th.
probably like the sequel's gonna be on Hulu, but.
Yeah,
but-
that'd be fun if we do an episode in October for the
sequel, yeah. No, and honestly, like I probably watched this movie maybe 3 times already. And every single time I watch it, I'm like, yeah, it holds up. Like
Yeah.
there are the goofy scenes that I thought were goofy stayed goofy, but like the scenes that I loved, they stayed being as good as I remember.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, overall, it was a good film. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I
you
think
enjoyed
we're
it.
gonna go. Yeah, it was fun.
Tell us if you
It
liked
wasn't
the
as
movie.
fun as I would like, which is why it wasn't super high rated on my part.
What
but
was your score again?
7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, all around.
Yeah.
Hey, okay.
As we mentioned before, pay attention. So
But
if you're
tell
just
us-
now joining us,
Tell us how you liked the film. If you did
Yeah.
enjoy it, if you thought it was garbage. I talked to some of my coworkers about this movie when I first watched it with you,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, I didn't like that movie. I was like, why? And
It's
they
not for
didn't
a
give me
lot
a
of
reason.
people, man.
Yeah.
It's not
And
for a
I
lot
was
of
like,
people.
why?
like
It
it's
was
fine.
pretty
It's
good.
fine not to like something, but also like if asked, like be like, oh, like I didn't like it because of this.
Yeah.
Or, stand by your ratings.
So
And-
look
But
forward to
that
reading
being
those comments.
said,
With final thoughts, also the trailer for Smile 2 came out. You probably haven't seen it.
he
I've seen
definitely
it.
Hasn't seen it.
I hated it, but at the same time, I also hated the first trailer for this movie. So I'm looking forward to the second movie just because I hated the trailer for the second movie.
This movie looks stupid. Let's
It
watch
does look. It looks stupid, but that's what I thought about the first movie. So I was like, okay, well, the sequel looks stupid. Hopefully, it's good.
I'm banking
All right,
on
I'm
this
gonna
movie.
call it right now. The movie is gonna end the same way that Truth or Dare ended.
There's no truth there.
All right. Well,
Oh.
I'll tell you off screen.
For
If
who
if
doesn't
you know,
that,
you
yeah,
know.
If you know, you know.
Anyways,
This has been Midnight Mayhem. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think our next video should be. Follow us on our social medias. If we are lucky, that will be up on screen.
boop, boop,
And we
boop.
will see you guys in the next one.
See you on the next one. Follow us Instagram, Midnight Mayhem,
Midnight Mayhem Podcast.
Twitter or X, Horror Podcast 2. Keep waving. And also our
waving.
YouTube, Midnight Mayhem, and our just recently new TikTok, Midnight Mayhem Podcast.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll
For
see you
sure.
guys soon.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.